No, IG Emma Empenyufo ya sonte say.
So that's from the police headquarters, where they've outlined measures they have put in place to ensure the security is in place, so we don't see the incidents we are seeing in some parts of the country.
Yeah. You see, that is very important, because I sat here and raised critical issues about what I thought was complete lawlessness being exhibited by certain people following the concession speech delivered by Dr. Baumia, and then also the really irresponsible call on party loyalists to step out there and seek to enforce the verdict of the people, even though we did not know as of that time what exactly the people had said precisely. There was only an indication. And I hope that going forward this will not repeat itself. I insist that the police, beyond telling us that they are doing A, B, C, D, must have their presence on the ground felt. Of course, I commend them for having done a number of things, arresting people and putting them in jail. And we are hoping that they will be processed quickly for court, and that they will actually be dealt with by the courts on the basis of the evidence against them. And then when that is done, we should see them in the cooler, because we want to send a decisive message to the people out there that merely because your party has won or lost an election does not give you the license to misbehave. It is a democracy. You either win or you lose. But where you misbehave in the name of losing or in the name of winning, there must be consequences for that. In fact, that's why ahead of the game, we all know the laws. The laws say when you lose, go home peacefully. If you have difficulties, go to the courts and protest. But you cannot take the law into your own hands and misbehave. Similarly, if you win, wait your turn. 7th of January 2025 is the beginning of the tenure of John Dramani Mahama. If he comes to office, there are rules around the game. And those rules must guide what he does as president and what other people do as citizens of the Republic. But where they take, they use the opportunity to misbehave, undermine democracy, there must be consequences for that. So I commend the police for inviting the NDC leadership to the NDC, the police headquarters, so that they can engage, because they were the people who sent the people out to go and defend the mandate of the people, supposedly. And in the name of defending the mandate of the people have misbehaved. Now, what is the consequence of that? The Electoral Commission tells us that 9 out of the 76 exactly, they could not receive because of what had happened. Their people attacked, they are under siege and all of that, so they don't have the results. Now imagine if the results were very close, and that the results from these 9 constituencies will help determine the winner of the elections. You understand? So then we would have undermined the process. What it means is that we would have been sitting here waiting for the Electoral Commission to give us the outcome. Then people would have been in the streets putting pressure on the Electoral Commission. Why have you not declared the results? When in fact, through our own conduct and misconduct, we have actually affected negatively the democratic outcome that we were expecting. And then also, you realize that when the suggestion was made at the headquarters of the EC at the Greater Accra, in the Greater Accra region, that there's some legislation that says 75% you can declare on the basis of that. And I was saying that, look, I've not seen any provision. And in all humility, if there's somebody with one, the person should point me in that direction. And what I said about Afarijan happening to be true was repeated by
the commissioner.
Exactly. That, look, this is the position. We have now 9 outstanding constituencies. Even if we add all the results, like all the voters in that constituency, those constituencies, if we add the results, like, or what do you say, or how do I say it? If we add the number of registered voters there, all of them, to Baumia's outcome, it will not in any way change the outcome. Exactly. And therefore, on the basis of that, she was declaring the results. That is the true position of the law as I understand it, and praxis. So that's why I still would insist that what happened at the Greater Accra Regional Office of the Electoral Commission, when they were talking about 75% of something, it is a problem, because the people who voted in those areas, whose ballots have not been counted would have been disenfranchised. Now, what the president says is that in future, just go and beat people. Ensure that as for their votes, though, it should not count. What we have, go ensure that the stronghold of the opposition beat people there. So that if the results that the EC has is only the result from your strongholds, and to the extent that they are 75%, it is okay. Go and declare. I don't think that the framers of our laws intended that consequence.
We have to look for that law because that's what the NDC used this afternoon to get. So we would have to.
I wanted to just look at the numbers again and show you something.
Okay. For the clear one by the commission, the presidential.
And highlight a couple of things from what we saw in 2020 and what we've seen now, and make one point. So forget the NPP and the NDC. That is decided. So GCPP improved on its 2020 numbers by 3,000 votes.
Okay.
GUM was third in the election.
In the 2020 election, garnered 106,265 in 2020. This election, they had 16,461.
16,000. So 100,000 dropped.
16,461. The LPG had 7,000 in 2020. They dropped to 5,219 in this election. The CPP actually improved because in 2020 they had 12,000 votes. They moved to 23,000. APC 17,461. Then in comes Nana Kwame, who will be the best performing individual because he's an independent candidate in this election at 84,000. Now in 2020, that position was taken by Christian Andrews, GUM, at 106,000. So if you look at the third performing party from 2020 at 106, and the third best performing party from this election at 87,478, it tells you what you need to know. Then of course comes Allen at 31,202. It brings me to the point of the state of independence and small parties. And we've been discussing this for a while. And as part of our electoral reform, the numbers keep indicating that most of these parties that get on the final ballot for the presidential election do not have the capacity. It's different if you are an independent candidate. Independent is independent. The requirements are different. So Cheddar, Alan, that's fine. But for the APCs of this world, the NDPs of this world, the LPGs of this world, the GCPPs of this world, the GUMs of this world, either the EC ramps up the entry points for what a national political party should look like and how it should function in the years before an election, not in the week of the election, not a month to the election, in the years before an election, we should be able to get these parties to either merge, strengthen themselves properly, so that we...
Or be wiped out.
No, you see, because what they've done basically is help grow a duopoly. The activities of these parties have helped grow the NPP and the NDC because they no longer control the balance of power.
So they split the third force.
Exactly. When my laptop is not here. There was an election where you could have the CPP and the PNC as the balance between the two.
In 2008, they had collectively 7 members of parliament, 4 PNC, 3 CPP. That's 208, just 16 years ago.
Yes.
Today, not a single one.
It's all gone.
And they were not ordinary, they were powerful MPs.
So these parties need to take a hard look at themselves on what needs to be done. The EC itself needs to do this for the sake of our democracy. It is not just about, allow this party to come in. Because, look, truth be told, we also know that some of these parties are pseudo parties of some of the bigger parties.
The big parties.
Some of them are decoys. They are there to cause all kinds of things. And let's not
and help with IFAC meetings.
No, I mean,
to add up to the vote.
These are conclusions we can come to based on years of coverage of
procurement parties,
elections
for IPAC meetings.
You've had we covered an election where we had some of these parties basically campaign on the skirts of the incumbent. Let's not hide it.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. So we need a situation that can only be carried out by the EC, where they put in place measures where these parties either strengthen themselves or get cut off. Otherwise, it's an effective duopoly, and we don't think we want our EC encouraging a system where they, by their actions and inactions, are actually not by the will of the people creating a duopoly, but they are the ones setting up the system towards a duopoly. I don't think that is the way to go. And when we say the EC needs to contribute to the quality of elections, and that's always been an essential thing for me, the quality of elections. Ghana always does smooth and fair elections, but the quality of the elections has always been a matter, because we never show an interest in anything else outside of the process of campaigning, voting, counting, and declaring, which we just did. Yeah. We are very good at that. But the little items in which are the ones that actually prop up a democracy, that lead to the situation that Sky talks about, where a returning officer should be able to declare an election without looking as if he's about to get shot live on national television. Does not come in. So these are some of the things that I gleaned from just looking at the numbers. I saw Nana Kwame Bediakun's statement earlier on. I think he spoke earlier on.
Yeah, there's something I just wanted to add quickly, if I may.
Yes.
You see, I've been harping on this whole thing about the EC's failure to live up to its constitutional obligations. If you go to Article 55 of the Constitution, it sort of deals with what Godfred was speaking about. There's a certain requirement that political parties must, a threshold they must meet in order to be registered to be political parties in our country. And with your permission, let me read Article 55(7) of the Constitution for our education. It says that for purposes of registration, a prospective political party shall furnish the Electoral Commission with a copy of its constitution and the names and addresses of its national officers, and shall satisfy the commission that A, there is ordinarily resident or registered as a voter in each district of Ghana, at least one founding member of the party. B, the party has branches in all the regions of Ghana and is, in addition, organized in not less than 2/3 of the districts in each region. And finally, the party's name, emblem, color, motto, blah, blah, any other symbol, and it goes on to talk about some of that. Yeah. Now, can we be sure?
Yeah, because these are really significant entry points. Yeah. So it means the laws exist.
Yes. The question is whether the EC is enforcing them.
Yeah.
That's the question. And I have been telling people that one of these days,
you go to court.
That's exactly
I don't like how your friend who calls you Yao, and he's the only one who calls you Yao. You didn't know you're a Thursday born. I don't like how it's been predictable. You can predict you.
No,
he's my brother.
He's my brother.
Their heads are the same.
Don't go too far.
So those were my observations from just the numbers.
I have some views on this whole thing about the thuggery that we are witnessing.
Yeah.
Okay, particularly over the parliamentary results. Now, I think there was an initial shock after the counting. So people left. Then they woke up from and came back. And then started, okay,
where do we start from?
Yes, where do we start from? This is our stronghold. Why are we losing this? Can we do something about it? You get it? So suddenly, MPP says it has pink sheets. And then NDC says, okay, let's see what you have. Does it tally with ours? Does it tally with that of the EC? And then no. I mean, there are instances where they don't tally. There are instances where what was produced was burnt.
Yeah.
Okay? But for me, I'm thinking that this whole thing, it's an attempt to hunt for seats. Simply put.
To prevent something from happening.
Exactly. Because you were there when the results were declared. Yesterday on radio, you spoke to the deputy majority.
Habib Idrisu,
exactly,
Tolong MP. The majority whip.
Yeah, exactly. Then you asked him. He said that people had called him and told him that they couldn't make it.
Yeah.
Then you asked him to mention the names of the people who had called him, and he refused to mention. Mention that.
Of course, it would have been breach of confidentiality.
Breach of confidentiality.
For all you know, the people didn't want to be mentioned, publicly. So
publicly that they had lost their election.
Yeah, he needed.
Okay. Then you moved further to ask him which of the defeats disappointed him most. And that one too, he fled from it.
Yeah, but he spoke about Baumia.
He said Baumia's
no,
defeat
okay.
was
But then you didn't ask him about Baumia. He brought in Baumia.
Yes.
Okay. Then he also said that there are contentions over most of the seats, so he wouldn't want to go further, and that he knows where you were going with that line of questioning, and that you couldn't trap him. True or false?
Yeah, he said I shouldn't.
Okay. Compare that to the MPP that we know. In 2016. Before even the EC will come out, they had pushed out a lot of their results.
Around 12 to 1 a.m.
Thank you, they had done that.
And they said it was unriggable margin.
Thank you. They had even shown their strong room, where I recall is Sankuma visited and took pictures. Vivian, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you, my brother.
They had shown pictures. Ace was all over the place, and people started celebrating. Oh yeah, my good friend Ace. I'm sure he's watching us. Then in 2020, a similar thing happened, where you had the MPP again show, their coalition center, and then said that this guy, Joe Anoche, was there, and that everything was strong. Now, it was so widespread that most media houses, including our friend Paula Dumotri, we started picking things from there. Joy FM also picked, numbers from there. To a point where the NDC had to do a press conference asking, where did you get these numbers from?
Okay.
When the EC hasn't come out. Eventually, when the EC came out, things started happening. Okay. Subsequently, NDC went to the Supreme Court with an election petition, whatever that means. But Vivian, we have been here before. It appears anytime MPP loses an election, we witness some of these things. I'll give you an instance. In 2008, okay, before time was declared as the decider, Atacha was captured on tape, and there was concerns over him that he had said that, if evidence could be shown that an MPP person was killed in the Volta region. So then dead bodies were supposed to be found. Okay, that is 2008. Not just around that time also. Then they had found how do you call that? There's
The injunction?
Yeah, they tried in filing an injunction, and then had gone to court on ex parte motion.
Ex parte application.
Application, sure.
They wanted to arrest the declaration to be made by
Afarijan
as of that.
Okay,
time. Yeah.
so again, a similar thing. Then in 2012, okay, when Mahama was declared winner, you remember the scene in Akufo-Addo's house, where at the point in time, Yayi Boni, who was the ECOWAS head or the African Union
from Benin,
had to fly in to talk to President Akufo-Addo to accept the results. The whole MPP party had massed up at Akufo-Addo's house. Others had gone to Kwame Nkrumah, circle, destroying cars and all manner of things. In our narrative, we need to cite some of these things to show that there's a trend That always happens. When you are winning, you release numbers for us to see. Anytime you are defeated, you keep your numbers in your armpit, and then people go. You left the polling stations.
But like,
you left
do we need
I'm coming.
MPP's numbers for anything?
No, you need it. No, I think we need it to compare.
If they don't want to give, that is...
No, but then with the target that we are witnessing, a certain political party is being blamed as the engineers of that, process. Because see, then these guys are saying that, hey, you know something, protect your victory. And so party boys, again,
Move
call
to
them
the
tax,
coalition
move to
and
the
polling
exactly.
stations, yes.
Then you see, let me cite this Domi Kwabena.
Yeah.
One of the interviews that Sky did yesterday with Michael Kwe, he talked about how a ballot box was coming to that center, and then party agents prevented the ballot box from entering. They attacked it, broke it, and then bent it. There were pink sheets that were also coming in that people questioning. You get it? Where were all these things coming from? We had decided that we'll count this at the polling station. After that, we move to the constituency coalition center. After that, we move it to the regional. So if, let's say, all that counting had been done, the results are supposed to be with the presiding guy. If suddenly somebody from nowhere is coming in with an additional paper, obviously somebody will attack it.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I think that we should broaden this whole space where after the polling station results are declared, beyond the parties, even the media people should have it, or the EC should have a place where they load it.
Where you can go and...
Where you
website.
Yeah, it should be a website.
Have access
You
to
have access to it.
So you post a copy on a tree at the polling station, the other one you upload it onto a website.
Okay.
So that it's easy.
It's easy.
And we can have it everywhere.
Yeah, we know that this political, tags, quickly when you post it, to prevent something, they will quickly attack, rip it apart and take it off. But then when it's on a website that everybody can access, we can all calculate the numbers and know that, oh, Vivian, you lost this thing fair, and then
No,
you'll be
say
dignified.
Vivian, you won. I don't want losing.
Okay.
And I think it goes to the trust that we have in our institutions.
Yeah.
Every time, and now that NDC has won, very soon the Electoral Commission is going to be the darling boys or girls of the governing party. I don't want us to be having such a situation. I want us to see the electoral...
Charlotte Osei couldn't become.
Well, of course she was removed. Now, the big question now is what happens to Jean Mensah after tonight?
Why should that be a question?
Why should that be
That
a
is the
question?
problem.
Has always been there.
So that is the
Systems are
problem.
properly in
When
place.
Jerry Rawlings appointed Dr. Afarijan as chairperson of the Electoral Commission, he conducted elections twice, and at the second attempt, Jerry Rawlings' party lost. John Kufuor came. I don't think there was a petition to remove Afarijan. I don't even think there was a big issue about removing Afarijan. He stayed until he saw the MPP exit. And he stayed and brought in the NDC. And for me, he has been a very good example. Now he has retired. It's a constitutional mandate. He should go on retirement. We appointed a new person. Now, Charlotte Osei was not an NDC parliamentary or presidential candidate anywhere. If she was, well, I don't have that evidence. She was a chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education. It's a state institution. Now, what is closer to Electoral Commission than NCCE? It's a constitutional creation, just like the Electoral Commission. She was put there. She supervised an election in which the person that is supposed to be her favorite lost. She could not save John Mahama in 2016 if there was any saving at all to be done by any Electoral Commission person. When this government came into office, just like they did to Domelovo, they removed her. Of course, there was a process that was gone through, but we know things behind the scenes. And I'm saying that that was a big low on our electoral system and electoral cycle. We have Jean Mensah. She's not coming from NCCE, but she's coming from the IEA, which is a very respected institution in this country, has organized presidential elections for us since 2000 or so. Clearly, the parties believe and submit their candidates to IEA because they thought that it was a credible platform.
Let me chip in this for our own education. There was a
time, NDC boycotted IEA platforms.
Yes, they both did. Both
Yeah.
MPP and
That's
NDC
the
did.
point.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Nana Akufo-Addo refused to go for the debate in 2020.
No, that is not
And-
that is not the debate. But they issued a statement saying that they were not going to participate in any IEA program. You know, yes.
Yeah,
Henceforth,
but-
because they thought IEA was biased.
I think that was
And at
John
the
Mills's time.
I'm coming. At the time, Jane Mensah was
Yeah, the boss.
executive
Okay.
secretary.
Yeah, but my point is that notwithstanding, in 2012, we saw John Mahama stand at the IEA platform, right? And I think that was the last time IEA did anything like this. So my point is that the person who chairs the Electoral Commission, based on everything we have seen and know, cannot manipulate an electoral process in the favor of one person or another. At least that's what I think. Because our election process is a very transparent one. Every polling station, you can send observers there. In fact, you can decide that as an individual, you would hire people to take photos of every polling station result that is posted
Okay.
everywhere.
So it's not a hang